In the middle of the forest, there lived a squirrel. This was no ordinary squirrel, but a greedy one. He spent his days searching for the biggest nuts, the juiciest berries, and the most delicious seeds. And when he found them, he would gather them all up and take them back to his tree, where he would hide them away, one by one. Now, the other animals in the forest watched as the greedy squirrel hoarded his food. They tried to talk to him, to tell him that sharing is important. But the squirrel just laughed and said, "Why should I share? I found this food, I gathered it up, and now it's mine. All mine." The other animals shook their heads and went about their business. But then, one day, a great storm swept through the forest. The winds were so strong that trees toppled over, branches snapped, and leaves were ripped from their stems. And when the storm was over, the forest was a mess. Food that had once been plentiful was now scarce. The greedy squirrel looked out from his tree and saw that things had changed. He could no longer find the biggest nuts, the juiciest berries, or the most delicious seeds. And worst of all, he was hungry. At first, he tried to ignore it. He searched harder and longer for the food he craved. But no matter how hard he looked, he couldn't find enough to satisfy his hunger. He was getting weaker every day. One day, as he was searching through the debris, he came across Hedwig. She was an old, wise owl who had lived in the forest for many years. The squirrel was surprised to see that she too was looking for food. "What are you doing here?" he asked. "I'm looking for food, just like you," said Hedwig. "The storm has made things very difficult for us all." The squirrel couldn't believe that even an owl as wise as Hedwig and was struggling to find enough food. He felt a pang of guilt that he had hoarded so much food in the past. "I'm sorry," he said. "I didn't realize how hard things were for everyone else. I'll share my food with you." Hedwig smiled. "That's very kind of you," she said. "But I don't need your food. I have plenty of my own." The squirrel was confused. "But how can that be? I thought you were looking for food, just like me." Hedwig chuckled. "I am looking for food, but not for myself. I'm looking for food to share with others. You see, when we all share what we have, there's enough to go around for everyone. That way, no one ever goes hungry." The squirrel was amazed. He had never thought about sharing in that way before. He realized that his selfishness had caused him to suffer, but that now he could learn to share and help others. From that day on, the greedy squirrel became known as the Generous Squirrel. He learned the importance of sharing, and he made sure that there was always enough food to go around. He even became friends with Hedwig, and together they helped ensure that no animal in the forest ever went hungry again. And so, the forest lived in harmony, with all the animals sharing what they had. The lesson that the greedy squirrel had learned was an important one, and that his life was richer and more fulfilling because of it.